Bryant, there he goes.
Westbrook does a great job of one-handed, left-handed pass.
Trent Jr. has checked in. Warriors stay with the same 5 starters. And Steph Curry hitting the wing jumper. Yes, dropping in that 3. Oh, Curry, a little split. Steph through it. Steph with the lift. So Steph Curry, beautiful beginning. The turnover. Warriors down. Free throw with a 3-point play. Curry right down the lane. How about that?
What's up, everybody? May 16th. It's a Sunday. It's gorgeous out once again. And if you're from the East Coast, you know the weather has just been glorious. As you see, I got my soccer shirt on ready. I'm ready to coach later on because I do coach youth soccer. But as always, Tony Jigsaw Cutillo at Cutillo 23. This is the Fantasy Firebox brought to you by Win Daily Sports. And I gotta give a shout out to the Win Daily team for the brand new graphic, brand new overlay created just for the Fantasy Firebox, which looks tremendous. And again, as always, follow at Win Daily Sports on all social media platforms. And don't forget, not only do we give out free content, but we have premium content as well. We have a ton of masterful minds that are deep in the kitchen every day, cooking up some tremendous fantasy statistics brought to you for your DFS lineup. So today's going to be a little different, right? Because today's for basically the end of NBA DFS from the classic standpoint. So now, obviously, you could do showdown matchups, and excuse me, allergies are killing me. And you could do playoff matchups as well. But for all intents and purposes, what I want to do next week is I want to look back at some fantasy MVPs, and obviously that's going to be listed by my man Russell Westbrook. But go deep into the performances of who won us a lot of money during the NBA DFS season. But today is all about MLB, and again, when the weather's nice out, and it's Sunday, there's nothing like that 1:00 start. Okay, you get the 1:00 start, you get the 4:00 start, and then you got that Sunday night baseball matchup. So there's nothing better than that from a baseball perspective. Now, yesterday, we hit 2 or 3 of our pitchers because, again, we already know what those top pitchers are going to be. Trevor Bauer lived up to, as advertised, lived up to his billing by pitching a fantastic game yesterday. But for those who didn't want to pay up for a guy like Trevor Bauer, we offered a few alternatives. Adam Wainwright, who got completely shocked or completely shellacked, I should say, against the Padres, which is okay. You can't get them all right, but we did give you the other 2 who hit, which was Luis Garcia from Houston, who had a really nice game, gets his first win, and then Domingo Germán, who we told you about against Baltimore, who played well also. So 2 guys that gave you extreme value when you didn't want to pay up for a Trevor Bauer. And today, we're going to try to do the same thing because we know this. I'm going to just screen share in a minute, but we already know that this slate is going to be headlined by Lance McCullers. But who can you get besides Lance McCullers today that's going to help you win your cash games or your matchup? So that's what we're going to look at right now. So let's look at this as a whole. And again, just like I did yesterday, I like to formulate these lineups, and it's not a lineup. It's just guys that I'm looking at. Okay, because I don't want to forget. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to write notes and keep looking down like this and see what. No, I want to look at you guys. I want to interact with you guys as we're talking. So that's why I do it this way. So right off the bat, again, you already know if you just look at pitching, right? We already know who the top guy is going to be, right? It's Lance McCullers. Now, Alex Wood is another top guy at 9,400. Now, Alex Wood's been going deep into games. He's that reclamation project out there with Gabe Kapler and the San Francisco Giants, and the San Francisco Giants have been playing unbelievable. They've been absolutely burying all the skeptics, and they've exceeded expectations already. Now, I will say this. From a Philadelphia standpoint, we've seen this from Gabe Kapler before when he's come in and he's been able to do what nobody thought he'd be able to do, which was get his team to win at all costs. And then mid-season, the train falls off the track a little bit, it derails, and we go back to what we actually thought was going to happen. But for right now, Alex Wood, very good pitcher. But the thing with Alex Wood is he's not a strikeout command pitcher, right? So if you bring him up, and you look at, again, I apologize, my allergies are killing me. Now, again, one game in the last 5 that he has 9 strikeouts and a couple sevens, but he also gives you that 2 and that 4. So he's kind of, he's dependent on, he needs to go deep in games, and, he needs to get a win. In all actuality, he's 4-0, right? So, Alex Wood at 9,400 is a pitcher that you need to win. That in my opinion. So I would rather go another route and go by my lucky 13, the Jigsaw 13 number, which is innings pitched plus strikeouts as the baseline. And I'm looking at 2 other pitchers that I think you can pay down for, and you can get some really good lumber back in the lineup, okay? So that person who I'm going to look at right now, Robbie Ray. Now, again, Toronto Blue Jays, offensively, I like the bats today. We're going to get into that. Chase Anderson, he stinks. Now, Mike Minor, who I feel stinks. Okay, got to tip my cat off to him. Okay, got to tip the cat off. Got to tip the cap off to him because, I had to stack up against him yesterday. I thought Chicago White Sox were going to hit him to all fields all over the place. And what does he do? He throws. He only gives up 4 hits. Right? So who would have thought that Mike Minor would have pitched one of his best career games yesterday? But that's why it's fantasy. You never know. But today we have Chase Anderson's already given up 5 home runs. He gives up the long ball. He doesn't go deep into games, which means that the bullpen of the Philadelphia Phillies, which has not been very good, is going to be in these games. So to me, this is a Robbie Ray kind of game. He's a lefty. The Philadelphia Phillies do not hit lefties all that well. They are a very a heavy lineup, even though they do switch it up, right? But what I would say is, at batting 232 against lefties over the past 10 games and going at, you're not even playing in Toronto. You're playing in basically a minor league stadium. This has, to me, a Robbie Ray game written all over it because he does like to get the swing and miss. And if you know the Philadelphia Phillies, what happens is they like to swing and miss a lot. And JT Realmuto accessed the game yesterday with an injury, which means another lefty comes into the line today, Andrew Knapp, to cover the catching position. So Robbie Ray's a name I think you have to look at, right? He's 19 strikeouts in the last 2 games. He's becoming a strikeout pitcher. Okay, and becoming a strikeout pitcher against the Philadelphia Phillies is a recipe for success. So at 7,200, I really like Robbie Ray today. I think it's a Robbie Ray day. I like that. It rhymes a little bit, but it's a Robbie Ray day. Also, I like Dylan Cease. Again, another kid, a young arm for the Chicago White Sox that just gets it done, man. And he's a strikeout guy. Okay, he's a strikeout guy. He's 26 strikeouts in 3 games. All right, the last 3 games, he goes deep into games. 91, 98, 99, almost gets to that 100-pitch plateau. This kid, he signifies what I look at when it comes to that lucky 13 number and the innings pitched plus strikeouts. This is a guy that I always will like to lean on because I know he's going to get me numbers even if he doesn't get the win, and that's very important. I mean, you look at these DraftKings numbers. I mean, 14 the last game, 37 and 41 before that. I mean, this kid, he's got an electric arm. Okay, he's going against Kansas City. And again, I know Kansas City balled out last night, right? They did. They balled out last night, but Kansas City's not going to ball out every single night. Okay, so this is a day game in Chicago again. I think this is a spot where you could get maximum value for a really quality arm in Dylan Cease right now. So that's one of the guys I want to look at. So yesterday we gave you Adam Wainwright. And you know what happened in San Diego. He got shellacked, like we talked about earlier, so that didn't work out. But what did work out is Luis Garcia and Domingo Germán. And the reason why that's important is because if you can get these two guys to hit, right? Robbie Ray, Dylan Cease, and you could take that 14-6 instead of paying $10,000 for Lance McCullers, which is actually 9.6, but just for lack of a better word, you're looking at these calculations. That's a $4,600 difference. So that's huge. That's huge to me. So I for plus 4,600, you're going to get two pitchers who essentially could give you a 20-point total, which will give you 40. And I am more comfortable paying 14.6 for 40 points than paying 9.6 and hoping to get 20, or with Alex Wood's case, playing 9.4 and hoping to get that win, which would take me above 20. So I'll go this way so we can build our core. So let's get to our core right now. We already talked about Philadelphia and the Phillies and this being a good matchup for Robbie Ray in Toronto. And you have to look at the offensive side. Like I said, Chase Anderson, not a very good pitcher. He's not been what the Phillies thought maybe he could be at the back end of the rotation. It just hasn't worked out. Giving up a lot of home runs. Got to go Vlad today. Got this a Vlad Guerrero kind of day. He's starting off my core. I know he's 6,000, and I kind of lean against those $6,000 guys. But today, Vlad Guerrero, I think it's a perfect storm going up against Chase Anderson. I think you could get a really nice Toronto stack if you want. And I'll tell you what I did here, okay? I gave you a value play. Now, I don't like to pay for catchers. The only reason why I had a catcher in my core yesterday in JT Realmuto was because I thought he was extreme value at 4,600. So usually with my catchers, listen, I'll be lucky if I pay $3,000 for a catcher. I'm going to be honest with you because they're so hit and miss, and it's hard for me to pay up for a guy like Contreras. I don't want to pay, or Will Smith. I don't want to pay that $5,500 for a catcher. It's not in the realm of what I like to do. So because of that, I always look for these value guys because let's face it, if I'm going to pay $2,500 for a catcher and he gives me a 0, so what? It doesn't matter. But if he's going to give me a 5 or a 7 for that $2,500, you're all in, man. You are on. That just means if your core guys hit and your pitchers hit, you're on the way to victory. So one of those guys right here, and I'm going to pull up his stats because they look like they suck, right? And Danny Jansen, okay, he's bat 103, right? Who cares? But again, when I look at my value matchups, I'm looking at pitching and I'm looking at the team and I'm looking at the environment. And this checks all the boxes for me for Danny Jansen. He has some pop. So which means Chase Anderson or one of these bullpen guys that is completely a mess. It's the only way to say it. Philadelphia is a mess when it comes to the bullpen. I mean, you got guys like Alvarado coming in, and you just never know. He's like Rick Vaughn. He's like Wild Thing from Major League. You just don't know which way his arm is going to go. So Danny Jansen to me is a good guy, 2,800, because he gets you that Toronto stack. So if you want to go with a Toronto stack and say you want Vlad and you want Bo Bichette and maybe you get Biggio in there, which you're going to pay a lot of money, you also could go in the realm of maybe I'll just take two guys and I'll pay up and I'll get Bichette and I'll get Vlad, which will give me about 11,000, and I can throw a little cheap option in there too, and Danny Jansen for 2,800 that maybe can get me a home run today. So that's what I'm basing this on. I'm basing on Danny Jansen getting me a home run today against Chase Anderson for 2,800. So he is a value play for me when it comes to the catcher position. Now, the other part of my core, this was hard. The core was hard for me today, guys, because I was back and forth with a couple guys. I really was. Vlad was the first guy, and the second guy was Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts has been quite possibly the most consistent bat in fantasy baseball this year. If you look at what he's been able to do, because he's just not a power guy, right? That's the most important part about Xavier Bogaerts, because he can do it all. He really can. He's batting 354 for the year, so it shows you that his contact to hit rate is pretty damn good. Okay, his OPS at 1.039. Listen, I mean, he's averaging basically 10 points, and that's DraftKings points per game. Listen, he's a comfortable guy, right? And he's under 6,000. He's consistently between 5,500 and 5,800. So he gives you that comfort level that you could pay off for that kind of money, no matter what the pitching matchup is, and you could be successful with Xander Bogaerts. So for me, he's got to be in my core today. He's on a roll. He really is. And his counterpart, JT Martinez, is another guy. He's not in my core, but if you look at it, Martinez is another consistent bat. And I remember I was one of those guys that thought that Boston paid a ton of money for JD Martinez. And I was like, you know what? It's not well spent. It's ridiculous. This guy's a swing and miss guy. He could have hit a home run, but he's doing nothing else. He's really shut me up this year because he's been really good, and this Boston team's been really good. So for me, the core, middle of my core is Xander Bogaerts because, again, he can do it all. And that is one of my most important things. Now, I will say this. Let's not forget, okay, that we're talking about baseball where you never know who's going to sit before game time, right? So the whole issue with this is make sure you watch it, make sure you understand that these things can change after this is broadcasted. That's one of the most important points. Now, one of the reasons why I want to bring this up is because you're going against Jose Quintana, who, and I don't care what anybody says, this guy is probably just as wild as a starter, like Alvarado is in Philly as a bullpen guy. Okay, so you just pull this guy's numbers, and look at his ERA. It's 9.0. He's 0-3. Listen, a 2.14 whip, that's double what you really want to see. So if you want to stack a lineup again, first was Chase Anderson, Philadelphia. Jose Quintana is the guy you want to stack up against. So, Boston is a team. So that's why I looked at the core with Xavier Bogaerts, because I was like, you know what? This guy's going to have the opportunity not only to go long, but score some runs, get a couple hits, maybe steal a base. This is a 15-point day for Bogaerts all over for me. So that's why he's in my core. And again, just like we did with Vlad Guerrero, and we added Danny Jansen for that that sneaky stack sleeper, we're going to do the same thing in Boston. And I'm going to go with Hunter Renfroe as one of my value guys. And I'm going to tell you why. Again, because he checks the box. You hear me say he checks the boxes, people. At 2,800, you can't go wrong because, again, you're looking at the matchup. You're looking at a guy with a 9.00 ERA, a 2.14 whip. He's probably not going to make it out of the fourth inning. Okay, so then they're going to have to go to the bullpen, which isn't that great in LA. So for the Angels, so this is what you have to do. You have to pounce on these values. Now don't look at the goose egg yesterday. Who cares? His last year before that, 5-8-21. 5-8-21. Listen, if he gets you 5 for 2,800, that's a big deal. But you take that 5 as a baseline, and you say because of the matchup, and you say because of the pitcher, okay, and because of the day, and you say, listen, that baseline could very well be +3 and give me 8 and maybe even 10. And for 2,800 again, listen, you can't beat that at all. So Hunter Renfroe for me, another value play. And yesterday we did really good on value plays yesterday. So go back, take a look at it. Our value plays, I think we're about 60-70% of some of our value plays. So again, you have to look at this. You have to look at these under 3,000 guys for your stack. That's the important part. Let me just tell you. I'm not going to build lineups on here. We've talked about that. But my biggest advice to you is don't get in love with the value plays. Okay, you get a couple in your lineup, obviously, but what I like to do is I like to piggyback them on a really big lumber guy in a good stack. So that's what I'm doing. So that's why I'm giving you, hey, go Xavier Bogaerts. And if you don't like Bogaerts, go JD Martinez. I think both of them are going to have a really good day. I just like Bogaerts because he's a 5-tool guy, I say. 5-tool in fantasy, that is. And he's able to check all the boxes. So Hunter Renfroe, 2,800. Again, check him out. Decent value in that Boston lineup that should probably absolutely destroy Jose Quintana today. Now, we go another value play. Well, now, before we go value play, let's give my other part of my core. So here was my dilemma. My dilemma was, do I go Chris Bryant against Matthew Boyd, who, listen, Matthew Boyd is so inconsistent. He's not the same guy that we thought he was. He's back and forth for Detroit. Or do we go with the red hot Aaron Judge? And again, we talked about Aaron Judge yesterday, and I talked about Aaron Judge last week, that eventually he's going to flip that switch and be back to the Aaron. He's too good. Players like that are too good to stay down for too long, and you have to bang on that value. Now, if you go to Aaron Judge, I guarantee you, okay, that his value, now he's at 5,300 now. Now, he was, when we pounced on him, at 4,500 last week. So he's almost up 1,000. That's showing you he's getting back, right? He's getting back. Look at these last 2 games, 30 and 23. Look at his last 5 games, 17, 11, 7, 30, 23. Aaron Judge, my friends, is finally back for the New York Yankees. And going up against Baltimore today, I think his matchup's there. So he was, listen, I'm not scared of Eshelman. Okay, when it comes to Baltimore, okay, so listen, Aaron Judge was, again, I'm going to go 50-50 here. And I'm going to tell you, you guys go with what your heart feels. If you're a New York guy, which I know a lot of my Win Daily guys are, they're New York guys, then you're going to go Aaron Judge, right? But if you're banking on Chris Bryant, who's again been one of the hottest hitters in baseball, okay, already double-digit home runs, going up against a guy named Matthew Boyd, who is not necessarily your most consistent pitcher, and you look at what Bryant's on, 14, 22, 5, 13, but he's 5,800. So here's the thing. If you're talking about building that good core, it could depend on what you want to do with Boston, right? So do you Xavier Bogaerts, JD Martinez, Chris Bryant, Aaron Judge. And the reason why I say that, Chris Bryant 5,800, Aaron Judge 5,300. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to flip myself right here. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I'm going to save $500. I'm going to save $500 today. I'm going to take Chris Bryant out. And again, like I said, this isn't my line. These are just names I want to give you. I'm going to put Aaron Judge in because he's going to save me $500, and I think he's going to have another monster day. So for me, there's your core. Vlad Guerrero Jr. going up against Chase Anderson, Xavier Bogaerts going up against that stellar Jose Quintana, and Aaron Judge going up against Eshelman, but absolutely ripping the cover off the ball. Okay, so there's your 3 cores, followed by Robbie Ray Dillon as my undervalued pitchers that you can get to help you build this core of guys that are going to be priced between $5,000 and $6,000. Then we have some value plays. And basically value plays, we just call them sleeper plays, whatever you want to call them, because they're going to be guys that are be shooting about 2,800 to 3,500. Guys, I think they could put a really good point production total out there based on a low value on DraftKings. So let's look at Willie Castro. So Willie Castro, my guy for the Detroit Tigers. Now, we just talked about the other realm of Chris Bryant going up against Matthew Boyd, but I'll tell you what, if you go back, and I know Detroit isn't the best hitting team in baseball, but Kyle Hendricks hasn't been the most consistent, a pitcher for baseball as well. So he's been very inconsistent. I think he's every other game. He's good, he's bad, he's good, he's bad. And I'll tell you what, a Detroit Tigers, they have some guys that can do some fancy damage. Guys like Shoop, right? I love Shoop. Talked about Shoop in the beginning of the year. I thought Shoop was going to be a guy who you could get undervalued. Robbie Grossman's another guy. We're going to get to him a little later. Willie Castro is becoming this kind of guy as well. Willie Castro, if you look at what he's done over the last few games, again, take that zero out of play because, again, I'm not worried about the zero because he's a $3,000 guy. But you're talking about double digits 2 in the last 5 games and over 5 in one of them as well. Another guy who does a lot. Now, he does strike out a lot because listen, if you're batting 202, right, you only look at the strikeouts 1, 3, 2, 2, 2. I get it. He's going to strike out. But he's got double digit numbers when we talk about whether it be runs scored, whether it be stolen bases or hits. You don't always have to have a multi-hit game to be good in DFS. It's what other boxes do you check? Do you steal a base? Do you get a walk? Do you get an RBI? Do you get a run scored? And he's always +2 over the last 5. So again, going up against a guy who's inconsistent in Kyle Hendricks for $3,000, I think this is another good value play for your DFS team. Willie Castro, look him up. Now, another guy, and all my New York people are going to like this, but there's Jonathan Villar, who is completely underpriced to me. Completely underpriced at $3,200. Well, you look at what he's been able to do, and he's actually dropped value. How do you drop value? $3,400. Okay, just because I understand you got a 2. So they drop you $200 but they drop you to $3,200 after you're going 10, 16, and 10. You just scored 36 in 3 games. That's 12 points per in DraftKings. How are you dropping? This is a max value player right here. Probably one of my best values all day. You got to look at Jonathan Villar. You have to look at him today. You're not doing yourself justice. For $3,200, the guy does it all. You have to get him in your lineup. Get him in after your core. Jonathan Villar is going to be a guy that's going to give you double-digit points today. I'm telling you right now, he's on a roll, and he's doing it all. Well, okay, runs scored and hits are huge. If he's going to get you at least a hit, and he's always going to score a run. Look at these runs scored. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? He's consistently scoring runs. 1, 1, 1. Look, he's consistently scoring hits. Right there, he's 2 points per game. Okay, and if he's getting on base, he's scoring runs. That means he's doing it on the base pass as well. And you see the 2 stolen bases in the last 5 games. Jonathan Villar, maximum value guy for me, $3,200. You got to get him in there. Now, we talked about the Detroit team, right? Robbie Grossman's another guy, a value guy. And again, this is all based on Kyle Hendricks, right? Look at what Robbie Grossman's done over the past 4 games. Or I should say over the past 5 games. 16, 14, 8, 10, 21. 21, 10, 8, 14, 16. I go the other way. Okay, and he's 21 for $3,300. They bump him up to $3,600. He gets a 16. And what do they do for that? They drop him down $300 again. That's called instant jackpot. That's called I'm ready to pounce as a DFS owner. You got to grab that number, man. 3,300 is a steal. Right now, today for me, Robbie Grossman. So there's your double stack when you talk to Detroit for a very low value. Not everybody's going to agree with me here, and that's okay. But you're talking about 2 guys in Castro and Grossman that listen, $6,300, right? $6,300. So let's open this up. This is the way my mind works, so everybody understands. Look at his last game, 15, 7, 13. Okay, so take those numbers, 22 plus 13. Now you're looking at 35. Take 35, divide that by 3, give me about 11 and a half, right? So just I'll call it 11. So you're going to get plus 11 average for Willie Castro. Robbie Grossman, if you look at the last few games, you're going to get, I mean, come on, it's getting another average. That's 22. That's 22. So $6,300 for 22 points. Now, I can guarantee you, okay, this is the way my logic thinks. I guarantee you can go into these hitters and you could take Mike Trout at 6,100. How many 22-point games Mike Trout give you in the last 6 or last 5? 4, 0, 2, 11, and 2. This is why, people, it's very underrated, the value guys under 3,500. This is why you have to dive deep into these numbers, right? So I'm going to pay $6,100 today for Mike Trout. Now, Mike Trout, best player in baseball, okay? I get it. And when he goes off, he's going to go off. But you have to dive deep into these numbers because you can't just get all these $6,000 guys. You have to get the $6,000 guys that are on a run, right? Or the $5,000 guys that are on a run, like an Aaron Judge, like a Xander Bogaerts, like I said. Or you go that one matchup guy like a Vlad Guerrero against Chase Anderson. But you have to fill in the blanks with value guys that are under 4 and 3,500, and you have to take your pick. But I'm telling you, look at those 2 numbers for Detroit. That's $6,300 for 22 average points. You will not get that anywhere. Now, they could both give me a 0 today, but here's the thing. Say if they both give you a 0, what's this 0 right here for Mike Trout? for 6,200. So again, the risk is always greater on a guy like Mike Trout paying up for that $6,100 to $6,300 number because you could get a zero, and that's only one guy. At least you have a double opportunity to be able to get value based on the other two guys that are low in the point total. So that's what I'm looking at right there. I think that's some really good value plays. Again, let me know who your core is. Let me know who you're going with. We're at 10 o'clock right now, Eastern time. You think about what we got, we got about 3 hours before the 1 o'clock pitch. You got some time to get your lineups in, but when you're formulating your lineup, make sure you get these guys in. Okay, I'm going to type in, and this is what we'll do. Let me type in these cores. So this is going to be our core play for today. We're going to go Judge. We're going to go Guerrero. I'm just going to put Vlad. All right, everybody's know who I'm talking about. Okay, and we're going to go Bogarts. Let's say Xander. Okay, that right there, that's our core. Okay, that's the core we're going with. That's who I'm looking at as my core, and then we're gonna go with the pitcher perspective again. Under money pitchers is the name of my game. Every now and then I'll go with the top guy, right? But I love trying to pick out these guys. So for me right now, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, Ray and Cease are going to be my two value pitchers today. We're going to throw those guys in there just so you know. Okay, so right here's your core. Judge, Vlad, Xander. Okay, Bogarts, I think double digits a day. Vlad's going to go long. Okay, your core is going to be Judge, who's absolutely on fire. Now, again, we talked about it. I originally started with Chris Bryant, but I want to save myself 500, and I'm going to go with Aaron Judge. Okay, and then again, let's look at our value plays. We got Renfroe, right? We got Castro. We got Grossman. Those are value plays, right? Look at those value plays. Okay. Again, our main value of the day. I'm going to throw it out there. Main value. Let's put this in right now. Main value for me is going to be Jonathan Villar. Right there, 3,200 main value today. Jonathan Villar, 3,200. I think he's a double-digit guy for way under money. And our go-long sleeper, we're going to do this. Go-long sleeper is going to be Danny Jansen, catcher. Okay, so our go-long sleeper, and that's a guy that we're going to pick undervalued to say, you know what, this dude's going to get a home run today, right? This dude's going to get a home run. So again, let's look before we get. And again, I'm not going to do NBA today, and I'm going to tell you why. It takes too much time this early. I have to do my research for the rest of the day. Because again, I understand that the tip is you do have 1 o'clock games, but the problem is because this is the last matchup in DFS for NBA, there's going to be a lot of lineup changes. And I don't want to give you guys bad information this early in the morning. So, check Win Daily Sports, check the tool optimizer, check out the projection tables, see who we have as, whether it be ownership rate, whether it be point to production rate, check those guys out, see who's going to be playing today, see what matchups are really going to, stand out to you from a point perspective. But today's going to be one of the most difficult days in NBA DFS simply because you don't know who's going to play, how many minutes they're going to play. You have to take all of that in perspective. So I want to focus on what I think we can make the most money on today. And I think that is, in my opinion, Major League Baseball. Now, let's scan real fast, okay, before we get out of here. And I want to make sure that I gave you guys the best values that I could find. Let's look for, let's do this. We gave you Danny Jansen as the go-long sleeper. Let's look for another guy under 4,000 that we have a feeling that could go long today. I'll tell you what. Here, I'm going to throw this guy out there for you, Evan Longoria. I'm a Longoria guy. I think he's kind of fell back a little bit the last 4 games. Hasn't been that great, but today against Keller, I think is a day. In Pittsburgh in that beautiful PNC Park, which is gorgeous. You have to visit it if you're ever on the East Coast and you're able to get there. But Evan Longoria, this could be the day he goes long. And when was the last time he went long? Let's see the last time Evan. Yeah, he's due, man. Look. He is so due. He hasn't hit a home run in the past 10 games. Evan Longoria for $3,600, go long sleeper today. I'm going to pick Evan Longoria, and we're going to do something different week to week. I want to do like a home run carousel. Okay, I want to do a home run carousel where we start to, and again, we'll give out prizes too. We're going to get to that point where we give out some stuff on a weekly basis, get you guys tuning in, get you guys in the mix. Just something fun, man. Who's going to get the home? Who's going to be the go long sleeper today? We're going to call that the go long sleeper of the day. I love that name. We're going to go with that lane. We're going to go long sleeper of the day. So Evan Longoria for me. Go long sleeper along with Danny Jansen. Let's see if we can get anybody else. Go long sleeper. And guys, give me your go long sleeper, man. Give me your go long sleeper today. Normally, how about this guy? Let's do a little player profile real fast. How about my boy Kyle Tucker? Kyle Tucker again. Still no movement. Still no movement on a DraftKings number, right? You see everybody talking about it. You got to pounce, 3,500. Kyle Tucker's been on a roll for the Houston Astros. So, again, everybody thought, what's going to happen with George Springer not there? What's going to happen? Guess what? Kyle Tucker, what's he been able to do? He's been able to lock down that spot in the outfield. And what has he been able to do from a home run only hitting 9? I mean, come on. I mean, look at his last 5 games, 19, 21, 7, 14, 9. He could actually be in my core. Kyle Tucker could be in my core if you think about it. So, again, I'm looking at that matchup. Yesterday, 2 for 4 with a 2-run homer against Texas. I think, could he go back-to-back today? Could he be a go-long sleeper today? I mean, he's going to give you points up against Kyle Gibson. Kyle Gibson is a heat thrower. He bases his games on strikeouts. And you know what that means. I keep telling you guys that. Look at that contact guy. Look at that flamethrower. He's going to miss a couple times. And if Kyle Tucker can get his bat on the ball, he could be another go-long sleeper. Checking in. Oh, yeah, there you go. I like it. Mandrill and Olsen. I love Olsen, man. Olsen's one of my favorite plays on Oakland because he could go cold for a couple games, and then he can break out. And he's usually about 38, 3,900. Let's see where he's at today. That's a good one. I like that. Let's see where he's at. I'm curious to see where he's at today on the value number. So he is, how much are we talking for Olsen? 4,100. So, and he's going up against Kent Miata. Kent Miata gives off some home runs. Here you go. I'll go to Oakland because I'm going below 4,000. We'll go. Let's go, Mark. Let's go Kana. Okay, let's go Kana. Let's go Mark Kana, and let's see if he can get a home run against Kent Miata. Let's go him. Go long. See, we're under 4,000. Let's see when the last time he hit a home run. So look at that. Back-to-back games, right? Back-to-back. 1450 doesn't hit one yesterday. So here we go. We could have a go-long sleeper again. Okay, the Oakland team between Connor and guys like Olsen and guys like Chapman, they're sleekily a really good home run hitting team. Seth Brown will even come in every now and then and hit one out of the park. So that's a good one. I like Olsen. I like Olsen a lot. That's a good play. Olsen 2 for 2. See, there you go. See, this is why I love the interaction because I didn't even look at that number. So my man, Mr. Parmigiano, and tell me that is not Italian, like myself. If it's Sunday and that's an Italian name, we're killing the chicken parm today, right? Absolutely. But Olsen 2-2 with 2 home runs against Kent Miata. There you go. Check that number out, people, because again, 4,100 is not a big number. 4,100 is not a big number. And if you look at what Matt Olsen is able to do, look at his numbers over the past 5 games, 9, 14, 4, 19. He only has 1-0. Okay, only one. And yesterday, he goes yard against Barrios, who's a very good pitcher. Okay, very good pitcher. So again, against Kent Miata, I'll tell you what, that's a good play. I like it. I like it. I love the fan interaction. Sauce it up, baby. Absolutely. See, I'm a sauce guy. I'm not a gravy guy. Just throwing it out there. I'm a 100% sauce guy. For me, on Sundays, you got to have, and I'm not a huge, I know it's going to hurt some Italians out there, not a huge noodle guy. I'm a shell and a rigatoni guy. Love me some rigatonis. Get me some rigatoni, some meat sauce, over a little bit of chicken parm, and we are having a good Sunday. So I love it. So let's go down. We'll go down a little more before we get out of here. We'll see if we can get any more go long sleepers. Let's go real deep. Let's go real deep and see if we can get a go long sleeper here. I like to have some fun with this because I tried to go with Andrew Vaughn yesterday. And he didn't really pan out, but that's okay. I'll tell you right here, we got it. Here we go. Another go long sleeper right here. You ready? 2,700, Darren Ruff. There you go. Right there. We talked about Evan Longoria for the San Francisco Giants going up against Keller. Another great matchup. Darren Ruff. And Darren Ruff has been quietly putting together a pretty decent season. 235, never going to have a great average. Struggling with Philly, he's a swing and miss guy. 5 home runs, though, for Darren Ruff. OPS of 963. That's not bad for Darren Ruff. And if you look at his DFS numbers, I mean, he's always going to give you zeros. But as long as I'm not paying $3,500 for Darren Ruff, if I need a filling guy for $2,700, I'll go Darren Ruff all day. I mean, yesterday goes 2 for 4. 2 hits, both of those hits, a double and a home run. Struck out twice, which he's normally going to do, but he did walk. He threw the walk in there, which is a good thing because that's an added point. So I'm going to go long sleeper Darren Ruff as well. Let's get for 2,700. I don't think you can beat that right there, man. 2,700 Darren Ruff. Go long sleeper. And I think we're going to close out on that. I think, again, fantastic day again. Love this Win Daily spot. Fancy Firebox. I love it. We're looking to go at least 40 minutes to an hour every Sunday and Saturday mornings. Usually around 9 and 9:15, depending on technicalities. Again, I'll be honest with you. I coach youth soccer. I love every minute of it. So I try to formulate this around my games. Have a game today at noon. Have another game at 2. So this works out perfectly. So I hope everybody is enjoying this as much as I am. I'm having a ball doing this Fancy Firebox on Win Daily Sports. Check, as we said, all the personalities at Win Daily Sports. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have fantastic content on the YouTube channel. Subscribe as whether it be a premium subscriber or a daily visitor on windailysports.com. But as always, we are here to help you win your matchups. Again, the core is in the comments. The go long sleepers are in the comments. The values are in the comments. Give me a follow at Cutillo23. And like I say for all my shows, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you